So should we go to the next Konami piece of?
Well, speaking of Konami digging a hole.
So the next thing. How do we say this? We kind of knew this for a little while, but Konami is now going to have their main platform being mobile. They do not want to be developing for PC or consoles. So I think we already saw this from a mile off about the whole, because since they started talking about how their gambling stuff works a lot better, and
but that was all like rumors technically, no matter how like substantiated people thought they were. But this was from an official company statement, so this is about as official. We are doing this thing as you can get.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Sadly,
I can't really think of any reason. I mean, I can understand why they're doing it in terms of like profitability. I think like the video. There was a video on GameSpot where they talked about this, and they made a mention of this, basically saying like the Japanese game developer companies or game publishing companies have very odd culture to them.
Yeah, it's mobile's even bigger in Japan than it is.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
by a decent margin, and that has shaped a lot of Japanese companies' business strategies, as we've been seeing.
It's just weird. Like we've already seen companies going for like quantity or quality. Like they just pump out games that are pretty much the same thing because they know it'll sell, and now that leads into mobile. That's exactly.
I don't want to write off mobile. There are more in-depth mobile game experiences, and there are games on mobile that have a lot of imagination and craft to them. But the unfortunate thing is that most of the time these are in the minority, and they don't sell because they are not going for the easy audience and money. It's very much a product of like how the app stores have developed, that it's created an environment which does not support creativity.
Yeah, you're far more rewarded for
even more so than the game
lots of
industry
low quality games.
Yeah, I mean, like,
money is nice, but then you lose something a bit more important. It doesn't feel like an advancement to change to something that makes more money. It just feels like you're shifting.
Yeah, it's one thing that me and Chris have had so many arguments over with regard to Nintendo, which is do they leave behind their values that they built the company on to become more profitable? When making it more profitable will keep the company afloat, but then if you lose your values to do that, when you've got the profitability, can you then go back to them? But in the past, we've seen other companies who've tried to do that, and they failed miserably. I mean, so, like, I don't know. I mean, it swings and roundabouts, really, when it comes to profitability and culture. I think Nintendo are one of the companies that kind of disprove that theory of versus culture, because they've kept their culture alive for so long now.
Even when it hurts their profit.
Even when it hurts their profit, but they still seemed to somehow manage to sort of scrape their way back in. I don't know how long they can keep on doing this, but
we'll see how things take off, because they did just return to profitability recently, and things are still growing. And we have more to say about Nintendo in a moment, which is pretty relevant to what we're discussing now.
Which is
Nintendo's
into that now.
Konami, they're really definitely shifting that direction, and they also mentioned, it's worth mentioning, they specifically said we're looking for ways to push Metal Gear Solid and Pro Evolution Soccer into the mobile sphere, which will be obviously fantastic.
But what is really, really sad, and this is going to make you both very sad, is that Pro Evolution Soccer is more profitable and sells more than Metal Gear.
Yeah, it sort of depends on the country.
That's what makes me sad.
It's just like,
and also it's supposed to be a fairly decent football franchise. So.
Yeah, but why would you want to buy Pro Evo when you can buy FIFA? I don't understand. Anyway,
well, there used to be a case for that, I think.
Literally no point in buying anything.
I think
FIFA.
1 year or like one version of it, the Pro Evolution was better.
Yeah, they both had their different. They used to both have their different things, and then Konami dropped the ball, and FIFA became the ultimate king.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking about companies moving to mobile and Nintendo, Nintendo's mobile strategy.
Yeah. So
and it looks awesome.
Yeah,
Unlike
I mean,
Konami.
Obviously, it's all still just words at this point, and words are words. But everything I've read about their strategy so far on paper makes me feel pretty optimistic that they're going about this the right way. They've
completely selling out.
Yeah, they've teamed up with someone who knows what they're doing.
That's what I was literally about
their
to say.
infrastructure.
I think they understand what they're trying to do now.
They are one of the only companies that has outright said our strategy is not that we're shifting to mobile. We are adding mobile development as another pillar to our existing pillars of making video games that we
that's great.
are crafting to. We don't want to diminish that. And we also don't want to release our games in a way that diminishes our franchises and our brand. And the integrity of what we do. Which is really, nice to see in this age of Uncharted, Pepsi Collector, and whatever the hell going on. But so they've said they are going for quality over quantity. Firstly, they're only going to push for franchises onto mobile that actually fit there. They're not going to squeeze down ports onto smartphones or something, or pads.
Do you know what sorry, go on. Actually, carry on before I say mine.
And the sort of article that we are talking about now specifically, they said that part of their strategy as well is to not focus on whales. So to quickly define whales, for people who don't know what they are, whales is sort of a slightly cynical... Yeah, a whale is a large mammalian sea creature that lives in... So a whale is a slightly cynical sort of marketing business term that applies to a lot of things, but it's most commonly seen in mobile and apps in particular. Basically, when you have a mobile game that makes money from microtransactions, free to play and whatever, you'll get a few people chipping in money here and there. It will happen. I think Raju has done a little, just a little bit,
Sure.
a little moderate amount, and that's fine because that's normal. A lot of people do it. You're just shuffling them a bit of money, and it all adds up.
Yeah,
but that's not where they make their money a lot of the time. The real money is from that 0.1 to 1% of the people who will spend their entire bloody paycheck every single month on buying all sorts of tat in your game. And they are called whales because they represent a huge, noticeable portion of the... Yeah, they're big.
They are the people...
When you get them out of the water, then they're yours, They're
the people in Clash of Clans that have every single thing upgraded within 10 minutes of playing the game. This is all people. We're talking about people who spend hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars.
But they are the people whose life is your game, and a lot of people, when they do mobile development, they gear the game in a way where they can make those little bits of profit here and there, but they're also targeted in a way that is going to reel in these whales and sort of almost, it's kind of a fuzzy debate, but almost sort of exploit those kind of people into being your whales.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird ethical thing.
Yeah.
That just seems like an addiction.
And it's a very
really good. It's really good gameplay fixed with a really good graphics, fixed with really good pricing structures. It's clever. It's good business.
It's a common strategy.
It's an interesting business strategy.
But Iwata, so the Nintendo president, has said he wants them to address a wide and small audience rather than just focusing narrow and large.
Mm-hmm. So they basically
they don't want to blow the consumers out. Basically,
they want to get as many consumers using their product who are spending very little money, if not no money at, if anything, no money at all, rather than having 20 players who spend thousands. They would rather have thousands of players spending £1 each or something like that.
They need that live action Pokemon with real life encounters on mobile and stuff.
Honestly, what I would like to see with Nintendo games, and I know people probably would disagree with me, but I think that all Nintendo games that they release on mobile should be... I don't think they should release them free. I think they should be paid for. I think, first of all,
if they were good, I'd be okay with that.
I think, first of all, because people will see more value if you have to pay for them, and secondly, it means that they can make back profits more quickly, which means you don't have to have as many or as expensive in purchase in-game purchases if they do any of those things. So I mean, I think that's probably a better thing for them, because I would actually, if I saw like a Mario, I know they said that they're not going to bring their franchises over, but if they had sort of like a Mario, a Pokemon thing, Donkey Kong thing on my phone, which nowadays phones are pretty big. I mean, this screen is almost as big as my 3DS screen.
I think they'll use their intellectual properties, just not they're not going to port games.
No, okay, fine.
They'll make games from the ground up for mobile that will actually.
Oh, so they will still use
suited.
Pokemon and Mario.
Yeah, so they will do that, but they
fine.
won't they won't be going like, oh, here's the new Pokemon game coming out on 3DS2 and iOS and Android.
Sure.
That's not what they want to do.
I wouldn't mind. I would definitely pay like £3 for a 10-hour or like a 5-hour Mario platformer game on my phone.
But that may not be the best example, because Pokemon would actually fit really well on mobile. What they're not doing is doing something like, we're going to squeeze Donkey Kong or Mario Galaxy or something onto a smartphone,
no.
because that wouldn't work with that kind of.
What they need to do is they need to treat it like a handheld, like the 3DS and stuff. The thing
like
is,
a special handheld.
The one thing that I love about Nintendo, and I've said this in the past with other videos, is Nintendo know the difference between console and mobile console and handheld consoles. Yeah. They know the difference, and they don't blur the line. They tell people, we are not going to make Pokemon on our consoles, or we're not going to make these 3D platforming on our handheld, because it just doesn't work that way.
I think that might have been where the Vita fell down. Is that a lot of the exclusives for Vita just end up feeling like they're trying to have a console experience in a handheld, which sounds good on paper, but it means that what you essentially end up with your exclusives is a bunch of stripped down AAA console games.
Honestly, I kind of like that though. Like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 3D, like as far as gameplay goes, they feel great. Like they work out really well. And Mario Kart 7 to me felt like a console Mario Kart. It kind of blew me away.
But racing games are different because you
can
play them. There's only one.
Also, like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, they were upports. They look better than the originals. But if you take like Uncharted Golden Abyss or whatever, that's just Uncharted, but it looks worse.
Yeah,
is it uncharitable way to put it? But sadly true. Yeah, it's a downport.
It's kind of like Super Mario 64 DS, I guess. They added a lot of content, but I mean, to me, the controls weren't supported properly for like a handheld device.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've tried playing it and just couldn't get into it.
Like the one thing that the reason why when Nintendo announced that they were going to work alongside, what was the company called again?
DNA.
When they were going to work alongside DNA, I was like, DNA have got a developer and publisher who understand mobile and handheld gaming, and Nintendo have a developer publisher who understand the mobile market. We are going to have people like Supercell and King have some serious competition about to hit their face.
And
there's no doubt it will be successful.
Yeah,
and they have limited scope in their franchises because they don't have the sort of reach that Nintendo could potentially have, which is part of their advantage.
However much King is big, apparently I can't speak English anymore. However big King is, who is the face of video games? Mario. If you've got Mario, you own the market. I'm sorry. I understand like Nintendo haven't been doing too well or whatever, but if you ask someone like, what is the face of gaming? Like, what is the character?
Yeah, like, what's the first video game character you can think of? It'll be like Mario, Sonic, Pac-Man,
Pikachu,
yeah.
Pikachu and Mario are probably the two faces of gaming at the moment. Maybe Halo, maybe
Halo. Yeah, Halo's a good guy.
Halo's
not afraid of anything. Yeah.
Maybe Master Chief. Like Sonic, Master Chief, maybe like Sega and Microsoft.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's pretty much it. And like, you know what? Nintendo own half of that, so I think they were going to do well in. Yeah.
They have a lot of history behind them, but they're one of the few companies that is really actually using their history in a really positive way.
One of the few companies that still people are still in love with, rather than just buying it because it's cool. Talking about people who are not in love with consoles, Microsoft.
Well, they sort of are.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like,
it's love-hate.
They've had some issues with game people who have been testing.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, I thought we were going on to a different one first. Sorry, doing the leaks. Yeah.
There's